I feel like there's a pretty big distance between the way that you have talked about Senator Warren and the sort of collegiality that the two of you have expressed mutually. Mutual respect, mutual sort of in it together kind of sense. There's a distance between that and the way that your supporters, particularly online, have treated Senator Warren. And your supporters have called her a snake. They use the snake emoji to represent her. They've called her a traitor. There's been some organizing online among Sanders supporters to primary her, so she will lose her Senate seat in Massachusetts. And I know you have distanced yourself from some of what your supporters have done in your name. But in this case, I wonder if that sort of vitriol toward her has hurt the prospects of you two working together from here on out.
I talked to her. It was a very cordial discussion. I am absolutely aghast and disgusted with any kind of vitriol online. And by the way, Rachel, if you think that doesn't come in to our campaign,
I'm not talking about incoming. I'm talking about outgoing.
Yeah, no, I know, and I condemn that. You know, it's ugly stuff. What we want our supporters to be doing is talking about the issues. Have a vigorous debate on the issues. We don't need ugly personal attacks against Senator Warren or anybody else for that matter. But in terms of Senator Warren, what I will tell you is that on major issue after major issue, we may have nuances of differences. But she is an advocate of Medicare for all, which obviously I strongly support. She wants to raise that minimum wage to a living wage of $15 an hour. She wants to cancel student debt. You know, we have a nuance of difference in that. But essentially, she has run her campaign in the way that we have, taking on powerful corporate interest and representing working families in this country, something that is long overdue.
Would you consider asking Senator Warren to be your running mate?
It's too early to talk about that, but certainly I have a lot of respect for Senator Warren and would love to sit down and talk to her about what kind of role she can play in our administration.